Boundaries. Let's talk about it next on the Metal Pulpit. Hey, thanks for taking the time each week to watch these, and I hope they're a benefit to you. I want to talk about boundaries today. This is something that I've found more and more to be a necessity in my life as a pastor, as somebody who puts myself out there. Maybe you find yourself in that same situation. Maybe you are a pastor or a staff pastor or just somebody that gives. I guess really somebody that lives would be the better way to say it. If you're putting yourself out there, you have to set up boundaries. And it's so important because, we will always have that next ministry project. We will always have that next thing, that next person to help with. And sometimes there are those people that we just give over and over and over and over again. And it starts to wear on you. And, we start questioning things like, should I keep helping this person? Should I keep putting myself out there? And the answer is, where are your boundaries? You see, for a person that keeps coming to you for money or counseling or things like that just doesn't get a clue and can't pull it together, and I'm not talking once or twice, maybe 3 times, but over and over and over again, what kind of boundary would you put up with this sort of person? Well, you just stop doing for that person. And I know that sounds like an un-Christ-like thing to do, but it really is actually a Christ-like thing to do, to say, I'm done. You've got to do this on your own. You've got to go and do this on your own. Because when we give so much of ourselves, when we keep giving of ourselves, we start draining. And quite honestly, I find myself at that point more often than not these days, where I'm just drained because of things I had to go through last year, things that I've gone through this year. And quite honestly, it would be nice, and it is nice, to see a favor return, for people to help you out in return because you've given so much of yourself. Back in 2014, there was a person that went through a horrific medical crisis in their life. Her and her husband had to do with her. And I was at the hospital every day, just about all day, until things took a turn, and for the better. But I found myself literally getting weepy, getting tired. And I had one person that doesn't even go to the church I pastor say, you know what, you're giving an awful lot here. Has anyone prayed with you? I said, no. Nobody's prayed with me. Nobody's offered me words, because I'm just putting out there, serving and doing these things. He goes, let me pray with you. And I have to tell you, that moment, such a burden was lifted off of me. Such a refreshing was taking place in my life. But those days are few and far between. You see, sometimes people want to give back, but and if you're a pastor or you're a staff pastor, they give back to the church, okay? Now, we're forever grateful for that, but when they're giving back to the church saying, man, thank you so much, what can I do for the church? Well, you can do many, many different things, but that's not the same as doing something for you. And there is a difference there. Giving back to the church, that's great, but sometimes us that are ministry leaders, that are on staff at churches, that are in parachurch ministries, in so many different ways that we're giving, for a person to give back to that organization isn't necessarily really actually giving back to you. So you have to find fulfillment somewhere. You have to put a boundary somewhere and say, I'm not going to keep doing that. I can't. I can't keep trucking this way. And it's important for you to understand that. Boundaries are a super biblical principle to put up in your life. The Apostle Paul said, hey, for those of you that keep coming for money, and you keep wanting more, no, if you don't work, you don't eat. There was a simple Paul principle right there. And we often hear the phrase, those who help themselves, God helps those who help themselves. Well, that's not a scriptural, that's not even a scripture in the Bible, but it is a good concept, and it's something that we need to hold to. And so I'm going to ask you today, what boundaries are you holding to in your own life? where you're going to say, I am not going to keep putting out myself out there because I need to take care of myself. I need to take care of what I'm doing. I need to take care of my family. I need to do this. I need to do that. And it's an important thing to think about. It's hard. The #1 best-selling Christian book back in the 90s was a book called Boundaries. But I often wonder how many people actually put that into practice, or was it just a good read? Because when you put boundaries into place, you're going to offend people. You are going to hurt people. You will have to say no to things in order to take care of yourself. Jesus did it. I think you need to do it too. Shoot me your thoughts, your questions, your comments. PastorBobAdams@gmail.com. Thanks. Bye.